Hello everyone, welcome to Third Innings Day 3. I'm your host Varun and I'm joined by Shayan Ahmed Khan again. So Shayan, what did you think of the mammoth partnership that we saw today between Jamie Smith and Harry Brook?
Yeah, that was some brilliant counter-attacking batting, right? Like the very first ball when Jamie Smith walks out to bat, he is on a hat trick and he really just hits a drive to start things off. And I think that game-changing over in that partnership for me would be the one where he takes down Prasidh. And like even before that, they were playing quite fast, of course, but then I think that over really gets them going. And again, it was a flat wicket, and especially after the new ball, there wasn't really much in it for the pacers or for the spinners, for that matter. I do think Jadeja had one ball that spun quite a bit, but for the most part, I don't think there was a lot in the wicket for the bowlers. So I think those two batted brilliantly, and it also shows us why Bazball is so feared because on a flat wicket, because even after so many wickets fell, like they were able to pull off a pretty decent comeback in this match until the second new ball came. Like it seemed like the deficit would be lower.
Yeah, definitely, because we were talking about the group chat. I think they were like 260 something for 5 out of
Hmm.
50 overs, and me and Bayram were like, if they stay till the second new ball, how many runs would they make? And I was like, they probably make between 150 and 200 runs. And then B was like 180 easily, right? But they
Hmm.
don't. I think they only make about 100 more after that. It's like
Hmm.
they use their brains quite well. I was not expecting that from me. Probably expected a bit of it from Smith, but not from Harry Brook. And I was really impressed with that partnership. The start was insane, especially by Jamie Smith, right? He
Yeah.
was on track to break Gilbert Jessop's, what was it, 72, 74,
Fastest.
76 ball record, depending on whichever side of history you're on. He was on track, right? I think it was
Hmm.
84 of 61, and then he slows down a bit. But then again, I think that's fine. But like
Yeah.
a bit like yesterday, like so much of today resembled everything I hate about ODI cricket.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you saying that like in that group chat as well. So
Yeah, it's
I mean, absolutely
both. I
brilliant
think,
stuff from
yeah,
Jamie Smith. First of all, the way he played the pull shot in particular, and as Tarun Pratap says, maybe it was a team plan for Prasid to bowl short. I do think there is an element of truth to that. It did seem like they wanted to get that out of him, but maybe he could have executed it a lot better, right? Jared talks about this. I think he tweets about it as well. So essentially, they don't really bowl the short ball at his head at very head height from where it's dangerous for him to play, like from where it's very difficult for him to play. But then, like he was hitting pull shots all across the ground, basically, like towards that whole leg side. Like he was hitting them in the front foot and the back foot, like everywhere he was hitting. I mean, front of square, behind of square, everywhere he was hitting those shots. So I think that pull shot for him was a very, very crucial shot today, specifically against pace bowling. But he was also driving really well. Like he hit a drive of Akash Deep. And when Washington Sundar first came into bowl, like we'll talk about how they face the spinners as well, like in detail. But then again, like when he just started off with two fours, two drives of Washington Sundar, very good classical cricket from him. Even though he batted in an attacking manner, the shots were not really like out of the box or anything. Didn't you think that as well from Jamie
yeah,
Smith?
yeah, I completely agree. I think so. To answer Tarun's question, it was definitely a team's plan. We saw the Gill setting like 3 men at the deep as well. I think around this area, like
Yeah, and he was still hitting it
the
above
plan was
them.
to. Yeah, I think Prasad didn't execute it as well because he was just like he wasn't bowling short, and he was also bowling a bit. The line was more leg side, whereas it probably should have been towards more offset. Also, shorter boundary, so easier for Jamie
Hmm.
Smith to take him on. So I
Yeah.
think they had the right idea, but like this wasn't probably the right ground to execute it. Maybe it was
Hmm.
deliberate from England. Maybe it was that pitch doctoring or the ground doctoring. They were like, let's have short boundaries so they can't use the short ball ploy against us. If you
Hmm.
want to put on your conspiracy theory hat, right? And then
Yeah.
How good was Jamie Smith, right? I agree with DF. I thought he was way more impressive than Brooke. I think the
Yeah, I
way
can
he
see
was
your point,
batting was
definitely.
right. And I also agree with DF. He should be batting above Stokes for me. I still don't understand why Stokes is batting above Jamie Smith in this batting order, right?
How much does Stokes average in his last 48 tests? You were the one who
Uh,
shared that
yes,
stat, right? Like
he's averaging
30.
30. He's averaging 30 in his last 48 tests. Essentially, after is it after that? I think that's just after the West Indies 100, right? He's averaging about 30-ish. Up to that point,
Hmm.
so up to that West Indies 100, he's averaging 38. So it's
Hmm.
about 35 now, right? His career average. So he's dropped off a bit.
Hmm.
He's clearly not the same batter. He might still have the same ceiling, but the floor is just so low for Stokes right now. But in his
Hmm. Hmm.
defense, very good ball by Siraj,
Yeah,
which we'll
today he
talk
couldn't
about
really have
later,
done
right?
much.
I think we can
Yeah,
talk about
gets
a
an
bit more.
absolutely great ball. And like Joe Root got out to an absolutely shit ball, like the two absolute extremes we could see in those two deliveries, and then the third ball going for a four, like when James Smith just drives it down the ground for a four.
So
That
you
was
can
also just
say
like a
Siraj
beautiful sequence of
bowled
play.
a good ball sandwich between two shit balls.
Yeah, but he ended up getting 2 wickets, which is what matters a lot, specifically for India. And we'll talk about them in detail, what Siraj and Akashdeep did in this innings.
So Death Killer is an interesting point. Says Brook averaging 60 looks so meh. These flat wickets are worse than ranked turners in terms of entertainment. I agree with the second sentence. Like,
Yeah,
flat pitches are worse in terms of entertainment. The
for
first
sure.
part, right? ODI pitches are largely flat, and if someone is averaging 60 at a strike rate of 90, we'd be praising them. Would be not even in this era. He's doing this in Test
Yeah, yeah,
cricket. Flat pitches or not, right? Like, you
absolutely.
have to give him credit. If that's the case, why isn't every English batter doing it? Some English
Yeah,
batters
yeah,
are.
yeah.
Crawley hasn't made any runs.
Root.
Stokes clearly isn't making any runs.
Hmm.
Right? Root is averaging over 50, but he isn't striking at 88, is he?
Correct.
So
I agree. Absolutely.
uh,
I think
I do think people
will
are
Harry
too
Brook.
critical of Brook.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. That there's always something that people are pointing out, some sort of flaws in Harry Brook. But I actually do agree that at the start of his innings, he was looking really pathetic. Like yesterday, especially after those, I remember very clearly that after 14 balls, he had a control percentage of 38, 38, and then after that, he does start to get going a little bit. I think today he played much better. Although there were a few like half chances sort of today as well, wouldn't you say? Like when he was batting on 63, there was a catch at slips for Gill, right? Like it was a bit tough, you could say, but maybe that could have been out.
Was that the Jadeja one?
Yeah, the Jadeja one where he gets an outside edge
Yeah.
when he was
But
batting
to
on
be fair to him, I
63.
think that just flew, right? I think I do
Yeah, a
will
bit tough
give
one,
him
I think.
something. So I think
Yeah.
he was a bit chancy at times, I would say.
Hmm.
Right. Again, I think the Earth again talks about how they were inside edging a lot, and you were mentioning this as
Yeah,
well
I
in the
was
group
also
chat, right? Yeah,
same.
Siraj was getting an insane amount of inside edges, but they were somehow just fine.
Yeah. But they were weirdly
They-
very, harmless inside edges. Like it was not the sort of inside edges where you be like, oh shit, he's about to get out, he's about to get out. But it seems like, yeah, okay, again another inside edge, whatever. That sort of a feeling was there for me when they were playing. And like I think a very very pivotal part of like this partnership was how they countered spin, right? Like, and we kept talking about how Jadeja and Washington, they will be India's holding spinners, but clearly none of that happened. And against this baseball team, all of that doesn't really mean much. I think it was Saurabh who was talking before the series that he was not very sure about Jadeja being good defensively, because I was pretty sure that I think Jadeja will manage to do well as a defensive spinner even against baseball. I thought he would be able to find out a way, but clearly I think England have been able to neutralize him pretty well, him and Washington even tried coming around the wicket, but then Harry Brook starts to reverse sweep him, right? So I think that range from him was also pretty good, and whenever they were going short, like he was able to pull as well. So I think, and James Smith was not afraid to use his feet. He was hitting down the ground, like he was playing really, really well across the whole ground. So I think absolutely brilliant stuff from both of them. And
yeah,
DF
they
says
played
not
spin
playing Kuldeep
incredibly
is
well,
an
right?
absolute howler. Yeah.
Yeah,
So on
we were
this,
saying yesterday, right? One of the reasons I was like, even if India had made 800, I was still unhappy with the decision. I
absolutely.
think we saw that today. The two actual bowlers they picked did really well. Prasad again, he's not a third seamer, right? You have to
Yeah.
use him in bursts when it suits him,
Hmm.
right? You can't. The issue is if he's a third seamer, it will happen. What will happen today? And Jadeja and Washington again. I don't think Jadeja is particularly suited to bowling in England, and we saw that again today, right? And Basball just won't let him be a containing
Hmm.
spinner anymore, right? So
Exactly.
maybe they do need to think. And the issue is if India are playing Washington Sundar and Nitish Kumar Reddy, Jadeja has to be a frontline bowler, and we have to
Hmm.
judge him like a frontline bowler. We can't judge him as a fifth bowler anymore, right, Shayan?
Yeah, very interesting point. Actually, now that you're saying it, he is probably the fourth bowler in this team. We can't really say
Yeah.
that he's the fifth bowler because, like on the previous tour, the 2021 series, I think it was fair to say he was the fifth bowler because they were going with the four pacer strategy. And even though they did play Shardul, I think in what, how many games did Shardul play? In 2 games at least. I think he played at Trent Bridge and he played. I'm not counting the Edgbaston test. I'm talking about the 2021 leg. So he plays at Trent Bridge and then he plays the other test match at the Oval, right? But apart from that, I think India had like four proper seamers going full throttle for like the two other test matches, especially at Lords, which they won. So I do think there is a difference here, especially like after the second seamer, there is a clear drop off. It was evident in the previous test match as well, and again we see the same thing. So although Prasidh, someone brought up, I think that Prasidh has the tools to be successful in Test match cricket, but why is it not happening? What do you think about that, Varun?
Again, as Jared says, I don't think he knows what's his best delivery, and that's the big deal. He's again just very inexperienced. He just hasn't played a lot of cricket, has he? He doesn't know what he needs to be doing. And then, with this England team particularly, they are ruthless against
Yeah.
inexperience. If they spot a weakling, they will target you in a way other teams won't. So Prasid probably needed like an easier gig at some point before he got
Yeah.
went up against Bazball England.
I get it. And that too as a third seamer, very importantly, that you have been pointing out. So, absolutely.
So again, we got a super chat. So Rudra's saying Siraj averages 34 with Bumrah and 25 when he doesn't play. That is a very interesting stat.
Yeah.
What do-
Like this stat has
so
been
why do
all
you
over
think-
the internet, I think, for a very long
Yes.
time now. And
Maybe
everybody
Bumrah has
has
been the
talking
problem,
about
hasn't
this.
he?
I do think there is an element of like the sample size not being that big, like especially if you look at games outside Asia. Because what are the games that Siraj has played outside Asia without Bumrah? If you think about it,
Gabba.
that's that one Gabba Test match, the two Test matches in the West Indies, the 2023
Yes.
WTC final, and now this match. So I think that's 5 matches outside Asia, and like the thing is, we can't really blame no, it's not about blaming anyone or anything, but it's just that maybe when he's the frontline seamer, it seems to get the best out of him in the sense that he's taking more responsibility and he knows that now he has to get the wickets. Also sometimes Bumrah might take the wickets that he usually would. There is an element of that as well, I think. As DF says, he probably has main character syndrome. That would be
So
true. Also agree with Doomslayer that
the-
Siraj is a confidence bowler. Absolutely
no, that's
true.
definitely
You
true.
could see it today.
And he's a rhythm bowler, right? My theory
Yeah.
is that like when Siraj is bowling with Bumrah, he's bowling more attacking lengths, so he's gonna get hit for more. Whereas if he's bowling on
There
his
is
own,
a-
he's usually just trying to be more stock. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
true. Just complete vibes.
Vibes,
Right?
yeah.
And the other thing is, I think so. If you look at Stuart Broad and Anderson, there's sometimes a very similar trend. It's because sometimes both of them have the will have like Lords. I think both had like the same end. It's just that when both of them played together, Jimmy always got the preference, right? Maybe there is an element of
Yeah.
that with Siraj. When Bumrah's not playing, he actually does get a favored end. He and in a way Bumrah
Yeah.
wouldn't otherwise, right? So he's got the favorable matchups. He's got the favored end. There's probably multiple reasons why he's just better. And again, it could just be main character syndrome. He might just love the responsibility, right? 6 for
Yeah,
70
yeah.
on this pitch is fucking amazing, right? Now he
Yeah,
did.
it's
I will
probably
say
one of his
like,
best spells
the root
in a
wicket
very,
was
very long
complete
time.
filth. Like it was a very Shardul Thakur wicket, but I think he deserved
Yeah.
it after last match. He was very unlucky last match. I do think he was quite lucky this test match. If you just look at, I think how many false shots
Especially
he
with the root
generated and how
wicket,
many
I think he
wickets
was a
got.
bit lucky. But the other wickets
Yeah.
were pretty good, weren't they? Like the Crawley
Yeah,
dismissal,
I think they were good, but I
conventional
think
outside edge.
So he was lucky from
Stokes
the
got
sense
a
that
great ball.
the false shots he generated were lower than what you would expect for the amount of wickets he got.
Absolutely agree.
So that's why I'm saying he's a bit lucky, whereas he was unlucky in the first test match in the second innings.
Yeah. For in terms of false shot percentages, absolutely agree with you because he was just not getting the wickets even after bowling well in the second innings, particularly in the last match. But in this test match, I think again what I really liked about him that he was hitting the right lengths consistently. He looked to bowl on that good length. I don't think he was trying too much. At times, I know he was still looking for that fuller ball, like that magic ball that he does sometimes. That I think he does go full for that reason only. But eventually, what happens is that he gets hit for a few boundaries, especially of Jamie Smith and Brook towards the start. But I think overall, it's not really that much damaging. And he also comes back and bowls another 3-over spell that he goes for just 8 runs. And I think that was also a pretty good work from him there in the middle. And then with the new ball, of course, him and Akashdeep did absolutely brilliant work once again.
Again, the new ball spell was important. So let's just take a quick break, and once we're back, we'll talk about more bowling and maybe the captaincy and all of that mumbo jumbo.
Cricket boards actually make watching their games almost impossible now. I spend almost as much time trying to find where I can view it as I do actually following the action. That is why I use NordVPN. They let me find all the cricket I want to watch while protecting me from the nasty side of the internet. Nord will free your cricket matches. Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/good areas to get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan plus 4 additional months on top. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Watch every match with NordVPN.
Welcome back to third innings. And Shayan, so What did you think of the overall bowling plans by India in this test match?
I mean, I think they started off pretty well, especially yesterday evening, and opening. I think it was good captaincy to give them a long spell. Both the specialist seamers like Akashdeep and Siraj, both of them got long spells to start things off, and then after that today, I mean, I think what we can really complain about is that they could have directed the short balls a bit better. Maybe they could have persisted a bit more with it at times, maybe. But I think when they started bowling those wide lines, I think actually I do think in the second session they pulled it back quite a bit. Like even though they did not take a single wicket in that second session, what was really important is that they did not allow Bazball to just go completely nuts and score very very quickly. That second session was really important. I think Jared also points out that they have been bowling well, but they're not getting the wickets right now. And I do think that those wide line plans did work pretty well. Those there in the middle session. Yeah,
Again, it's
NKR bowled
Jared's
better than
theory,
Prasidh.
right? He did. He definitely did actually. Like he nearly got a
Yeah,
wicket
I
first
didn't
ball.
mind him
Actually,
too much.
we should actually talk about that. I think it's one of those things where like that's not good keeping because Pant probably should have moved better for that catch. He made let's say like a semi-tough chance look really difficult. Like he just didn't. If you look at his footwork, it was bad. It's what Jared talks about, right? Modern wicket keepers just don't use their feet very well, and it sometimes it brings up a discussion like how valuable is wicket keeping, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that is
And
the everlasting question for
and
us.
so I think so with coming to the bowling plan, Jared keeps talking about this. He's like, because the new generation of batters grew up with the wobble ball and the tight lines you bowl with the wobble ball, most of them actually don't know what to do when the ball is wide but not completely wide. So somewhere between the corridor of uncertainty and of filth. So they don't really know. It's that
Yeah.
area they seem to struggle. Whereas batters in the past would just either punish it or just leave it all day, right?
Yeah, I do think
And
there
it's
is an
just
element of that for sure.
it's just unlucky that they didn't work. Like they played and missed so many times. There were a couple of near drag backs.
Yeah, I
It's
think
weird.
we were
Like,
talking in the
yeah,
chat, right, that there might just be a chop on anytime soon, but that did not happen. Like, eventually, Brook gets out to an absolutely brilliant ball from Akashdeep.
yeah. I was
And
just about to say we have to mention that ball, right? I think it was a fantastic
yeah,
ball. It came out of nowhere. I'd like to think. Like I was like, it just like caught me off guard. I was like, oh god, these two just gonna keep batting, and then he gets out. I'm like, oh wait, what's
yeah,
happening here? And then they do a classic India style collapse of 5 for 20 or
yeah,
something.
yeah, absolutely. And I think absolutely, and I think it was Akashdeep who got the first two wickets, right? Like he gets first he gets Brook out and then he gets Vokes out, like Vokes nicks off, and then after that Siraj does a pretty good job of just cleaning up the tail. And again, I think absolutely brilliant work from both of those fast bowlers, and we were really excited to see how they would go with the second new ball. And I think they actually proved themselves right in that aspect. And what happened was because Bazball plays so fast, what happens now is that because of that, what really happens is that sometimes their bowlers don't really get a lot of time to rest, and then they have to come back on the field early. What do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. They bowl 62 overs less than India do, right? So
Exactly.
62 was more than India did. I think that's what I'm going to say. That's a lot of workload, and the England have played the same attack in 2 test matches now,
Yeah,
so they seem exhausted, right?
it did seem so. Yeah.
So I think
What did you
Nandan
think
has an
of their bowling
interesting
today?
point. Sorry, of England.
No. I'll come back to that.
Okay, that's fine. So what were you asking?
No. I was just asking that what did you think about England bowlers today? Like in that last in that India's third innings, what did you think of their bowling?
I
Like for that
didn't think they
final hour
bowled
or
well
so.
at all. I think they just couldn't seem to find the lens. And Josh Tung accidentally bowled a really good ball. I don't know if you
And
saw
maybe
caught
Jaiswal
the
was also
preceding
attacking
point,
a
right?
lot. Like he was 28 of
Yeah.
21, right?
What was
He
it? It
had
was
like
like
six
full
fours.
toss, half volley, and like a really good ball. And the review again,
Yeah.
like, what did you think of that review decision, Simon? Because the time was gone. It wasn't like, oh, it's a controversial thing. The time was done. They shouldn't have let Jaiswal review it, right?
Yeah. I think that's probably fair. I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't think I followed that bit very closely. Like I knew like I know that he took the review and everything, but because I was also like making notes for this particular, like talking about what happened in the rest of the day, I didn't follow the timings very closely. But I did see that it was out, and then, like, yeah, whatever. Let's get on with it.
Again, they were probably again also.
But yeah, they should not have
over-attacking,
been
right?
allowed. Going by whatever you
Yeah.
guys have been saying, I think it's
Yeah.
probably the fair take.
I think
Yeah,
England were
because if
also
the
maybe
time was up, the time
over-attacking
was
a
up.
bit.
It's as simple as that.
Agreed. Completely agree with you. Like Again, I think England were just over attacking with the ball because they were desperate for wickets. Maybe there's an element of that, and that's sometimes like you shouldn't do that. There's a reason why it could go horribly wrong or horribly in your favor, right?
Shretan
Shouldn't
KD
have
says
lost
that
it.
Tongue bowled Warner with that same ball at Lords in the 2023 Ashes. I also remember that. I think he gets another
Yeah.
left-hander out bowling around the wicket, right? Like I think it was Khwaja,
I think
and he gets
he
Khwaja
does
also
get
bowled in that
Khawaja.
same match,
He does get
if I'm not
Khawaja, yeah.
wrong. And then he gets
I think
Smith
was it
out with a
Warner?
bouncer later on.
Yes, was it Warner where the stump breaks, not the bail? This actual stump breaks when he bowls in.
Rules are
sorry,
rules.
so going- Yeah. So
Yeah.
going back to Nandan's point, he's saying after his accident, it's obvious Pant would have lost some of his agility forever. But again, I do not expect from Indian management to play him as a pure bat and let Jurel do the keeping. Again, why would India do the sensible thing?
I actually love that idea, to be honest. Like Rishabh Pant at 5
Yeah.
AB de Villiers arc fully. Just go
Also,
and maximize
I don't think
yourself
Dhruv
as a batter.
Jurel's
Jurel at
parents
number
want
6.
him in the team as much as I want him in the team, right? I've been so on the Jurel trend, man. For the love of God, play him. If you're only going to use NKR as like for 10 overs, why are you playing him? He's not a better batter than Dhruv Jurel. He's not got a higher ceiling than him. Why are we doing this bullshit, right? I can at least forgive Washington Sundar at 8, okay? Fine, I'll accept it. For the love of God, play like a good six batter. Don't do this bullshit, Gambhir, right?
I mean, I see what you're trying to say. I don't think I underrate Nitish's batting as much as you do. I think you're of the feeling that he has scored a lot of runs against the softer ball, so maybe he's not yet in the 6 best batters. I do think there is a case for that still. Nitish at 6, Jadeja at 7, and then just pick your best 4 bowlers, including Kuldeep Yadav. I do think that would be pretty good. Like if they went with that team, I would absolutely love that. But ideally, yeah, if Jurel takes the gloves, Jurel at 6, Pant at 5, the rest of the team, like, yeah, as I've mentioned, the 3 best fast bowlers, and then with Kuldeep Yadav along with them. And with Jadeja at 7, I think I would pretty much like that team a lot. And with Jadeja as the 5th bowler, I think there will be lesser concerns. Lot lesser concerns, because in this team there is a lot more pressure on him also to perform. If he can just do the holding role and like not have to worry about other things, I think that would be pretty good. And even though against Bazball, I think it's fair to say they will not let him do the holding role as much, because they just start attacking at like whenever they think it is possible. Like you just think about it, bro. They lost 5 wickets they just lost their 5 wickets so early, right? It didn't seem to matter to them at all. It did not matter to them. They were just playing counter attacking cricket.
It's so crazy. They were 500 runs behind when those two were started batting together.
How is
They
this
came
like
so
a game?
close.
Can you believe it?
It's insane.
It's
They
basketball
both of
England,
them
so it can happen, but otherwise,
they made 300s between the two of them, and no one did anything else either side of it.
yeah, 6
I
ducks,
was
250 plus.
Yeah, I was looking this up. This is only the 5th time in Test history where 2 batters make 150 and the third one doesn't cross 25. It doesn't happen very often in Test cricket.
Yeah.
So it's such a
that point.
weird, like, very strange batting effort. What do you reckon?
Yeah. Very, very odd batting effort. Like, I think it's just that one big partnership that really irritates all the Indian fans, but like the English fans would be absolutely loving it. And the way they batted, I think they played classical cricketing shots, but they've scored very quickly. And again, as we keep saying, because of the way Test cricket is shaping up, a lot of it has become like ODI cricket. So strike rotation is very, very easy comparatively, isn't it?
Yeah, completely.
I
agree.
genuinely
again,
thought England would take the lead. Even I thought
Same,
that.
bro, same.
Like,
Yeah, exactly the same.
That
I
was a
like, wow.
possibility, I think. Definitely.
So here's my thinking. I was like, okay, they'll make 100 more runs. One of them will get out, and the tail will wag, and they'll do what they did in what was the Headingley.
The
They'll
last
be like, they'll have a deficit of 10 runs or something. I was not expecting what the hell just happened, right? Again, completely agree with Magpie. When I was expecting a 300-run partnership, I was not expecting it with Brook and Smith. I was expecting Brook and Root,
James Smith, yeah.
right? I think if Root doesn't get out, like, what would England have done? What the hell would have happened?
Yeah. But Root must be kicking himself. Be like, bro,
Yes.
what wicket did I get out on early? Like, this was
But
the
is
perfect
it-
time to just fill his boots.
Is it not the most Joe Root thing to like get out on an easy pitch and only make runs when it's moving?
To be fair, he did make runs in Pakistan, right? Like, when him and Harry Brook both made like those
Yes.
big hundreds. Brook got a triple century. So, I think Stokes' average of 36 is legendary because he never makes runs on these roads.
That is true. He isn't very good at stat padding from memory, I think. That's one thing he's
Those
terrible at.
like sort of difficult situations do tend to get the best out of him at times. I mean, not always, but some of his best knocks have definitely come under crisis situations. So I think another point was, I think, very interesting point by Tarun, that he says that if Pant gives up the gloves and with his batting style goes through failure, his place just as a batter will be under more scrutiny. And he plays freely because he has two skills. It's a very, very interesting perspective,
That is
actually. I
a
think,
valid point, isn't it? It's a bit
yeah,
like it's a bit like how all-rounders, pace bowling
yeah,
all-rounders usually are attacking batters because they don't care about their staying there,
correct.
right? I think it's a bit like that with Pant. Because if you're keeping for so long, you don't last thing you want to do is stick for too long out there at the bat, right?
Yeah, I absolutely see the point there. And
Also, the thing,
maybe,
where will Pant field? That's the other thing. I don't trust him as a fielder at all, right?
yeah, definitely. Like,
That is an
but
interesting
he's not.
point. England have bowled in every single day, right?
That is true. They have bowled on every single day, and they bowled for most of yesterday as well. And again, they've bowled for a good portion of the overs, like towards the end today, like 13 overs today, a lot of yesterday, and then like the full day of day one. So I think that's really a lot of bowling. And what do you think? Like maybe if Archer comes back, some like they might replace Tongue with him, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder if they'll replace Cars as well because Cars just looks tired,
Yeah, that was also because Cars was off the
right?
field also. I think in the first innings for some time.
Yeah. Like he just looks knackered. That's one thing again. Like
Hmm.
India, we have to give India credit for. They put them out there. They grinded it. They fully
Yeah.
just grinded them down.
But bro, they
Right?
were batting too slow. Let's not forget that. And if
I
India
mean,
lose this test match, it will
pathetic
be
pace
because Shubman Gill took 133 balls to get to his half century.
because Shubman Gill was stat padding unfairly, right?
Yeah. Another interesting
England.
point is England are missing Wood's raw pace. What do you think
I
about
think
that,
that's
Varun?
fair. Like I think they're just missing his bowling, right? He's one of the best bowlers. Is he not?
Yeah. But like
Not just his
specifically
pace.
talking about high pace, I think India do have the batters who will be able to play him. Like especially the three main batters in particular. I think with Jaiswal, Gill, and Pant, and even KL Rahul. I think against high pace, I would trust him pretty much.
I think
And
Jadeja likes
Gill, I
high
was
pace as well.
very so.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think Jaddu likes high pace too.
Oh yeah, even he's pretty good. Yeah, you're right.
He's like a Walmart version of Virat. Like he doesn't like it when the ball moves around, but he loves it when it's fast at him, right?
Yeah, I see the point there. Yeah, he has played well in Australia also. No, at times like he has those 70, 80 type of scores, 4 times I think in Australia. 3 times that I can remember very clearly. Once in that 2019, one half century I remember in every single tour, like from the last 3 tours that Jadeja has gone to Australia. So I think yeah, there is an element of him being able to play high pace quite well. And I think if you actually remember that Rajkot match which we were talking about, even in that game, wasn't it Mark Wood who took some early wickets, and then Patidar gets out playing like a very soft dismissal of I think
I
Hartley
think
it was.
so.
Yeah, only
I think
NKR
so,
will be
yes.
cooked against Archer. Not sure about that.
No.
I mean, I
Again,
personally I
what
think I need
version
to
of
see more.
Archer are we going to see? That's the issue, isn't it?
That also.
Yeah. So okay, so Shayan, we'll just take a quick break and then we'll just briefly talk about tomorrow.
I have traveled the cricketing world, and so I've collected two things: the phone numbers of random taxi drivers and overseas SIM cards. Rideshare apps have fixed the first part, and Sally is doing the second. Now, all you need is their eSIM on whatever plan works for you. You activate it and you can use it anywhere in the cricketing world. It helps you save money. It is a global solution to a global problem. Stop fiddling with tiny SIMs and get the one that does it all. Go to Sally.com Good Areas and use the code Good Areas to get an exclusive 15% off your first purchase. Fly free with Sally.
Welcome back to Third Innings. I'm your host Varun, and I'm joined by Shayan. So Shayan, so India's what, like 60 something for 1 right now after 10 overs?
Yeah.
They've started very aggressively. Let me just check. They're 64 for 1 currently. After 11.4? That can't be right. Of the 12 overs, right? So
13 overs, 64 for
how
one.
many? Okay, so how many sessions do you think India should bat tomorrow, and what target would you set England if you were part of the Indian dressing room?
Again, just bat the whole day. Like I think there is absolutely no questions to be asked in that aspect. The question really has to be how many runs should they be looking to make? Like what target should they set for England on day 5? 504 sessions is a perfect target, is what Magpie feels. Do you want to give them 4 sessions?
So what I think Nas was talking about it on Sky. He's like, I think Sunday weather is a bit iffy. Apparently tomorrow is good, so maybe
Oh.
that might play into the declaration. They might possibly just bat 2 sessions, see where they are, and then like like if they go at 5 and over, what's that? And even with England's over rate, they're not going to. England's over rate probably you bowl about 50 to 55 overs in 2 sessions.
Yeah.
Right. What's that? 250, like let's say 280 at runs if they
Yeah.
go bat quickly, right? That's if we're
Yeah,
assuming
if
they
they
bat
bat fast,
quickly.
exactly.
Yeah. If they don't, let's say 150. Right. So not even not 150. I think let's say 150 to 200. I don't know if they feel comfortable giving England 450 in 4 sessions. So they might possibly. Again, I think 500 is probably maybe what they're thinking, but we don't know. Maybe
500, I think,
they
it
might
should be the
actually-
magic number.
They might actually give them an aggressive declaration. We don't know if Gigi's feeling it. If he's feeling in an aggressive mood, right?
That would
What
be
do you
quite
think?
interesting, I think. But even I would say 500 is what they should be looking to aim for. And I do think they can bat fast now, especially with, like, we know that this is a good batting wicket and there's not many demons in this wicket. And with KL Rahul is now set. KL Rahul is striking at nearly 73 in this innings. And he has a control percentage of 92 so far and he's looked good. So I think, what did you think about his batting today in particular towards the end? Because I couldn't catch much of it, but like it seems that he's played those classical shots once again.
Yeah. I think he was also playing off the back foot much more in this innings than he was in the first one as well. I thought he looked really good. I think now that is a very important thing for him. If he can add a regular back foot option as well, a good regular front foot boundary scoring option, that will make England's life quite difficult. Whereas I think in the first test, it did just seem like he was too dependent on the cover drive. And that
Yeah,
doesn't
he was
seem
cover
like it's
driving a
as
lot
much
in
an
that
issue.
first test.
He was back foot punching everything in this test match, in this innings, I think.
Wonderful.
So I think he looked
Those
incredibly
are
good,
ominous
right?
signs for India. Yeah. 503 sessions is too defensive. Yeah, I do see the point. Like maybe you could give them 100 overs, as someone pointed out in the comments, that with 100 overs, 500 runs, and assuming there is no rain, I think we have a great match on our hands. And I would still say, like, even in the last match, I felt that India should be able to defend those many runs, although they couldn't. And Baseball England again pulled off a brilliant knock, like a brilliant effort, fourth innings. But I think with 500, it will genuinely be very hard. And India right now are in a position where they can put pressure back on England. And I do think right now they're in a very good, strong position, and they should look to bat fast at around 4.5, 5 runs per over, especially in the first. Maybe in the first session, I think they could be a little more circumspect, like especially in that first hour, not make too many silly mistakes or just not play a lot of rash shots. But then after that, with the batting that they have, like Gill is yet to come, Pant is yet to come, Nitish can bat fast if required. Jadeja can also, like, if he unleashes that gear, then I think that can also be another quick scoring option for India. And with batting till number 8, Akashdeep can hit a few sixes. I think India should back themselves and look to, play good positive cricket and probably see off the first hour and then go for it.
And also, as DOF points out, there is a very realistic chance they collapse again. I was surprised they haven't collapsed already, I'll be completely honest with you. I was like, this feels like an India sub-100 collapse for some reason. I don't know why. I was
That
like,
is the
oh God.
negative side of
I was like,
Varun, the India fan, for you guys.
Yeah.
He
And the
will
positive
always be
side of him,
thinking
the
about the
English
next
fan in
possible
me.
collapse.
Yes. And what do you call it? And that's the English fan in me hoping for a collapse. Again, it's mixed feelings.
Yeah.
I'm like, do I want India to win as an Indian fan, or do I want GG to suffer? What do I want more? Right?
I mean,
What do
you
you
will
want more,
not
Shayan?
morally accept this win, right? Like, if India
Yes.
win with just like three proper fast bowlers, of which Prasidh is the third bowler, and with two
Let's say
spinners.
two. I don't acknowledge Prasidh as a fast bowler after what I've seen in 3 innings.
I think we're still being a bit too harsh on him. Young paces do take some time to figure it out. I mean, I know you're just joking about it, but still, like, we'll give him some time, I believe. But probably not in this series. I think someone mentioned this in the comments, right? They can just bring Bumrah back for Prasidh in the next match, and like obviously the sensible, more bolder,
So
bolder and
Patrick has
sensible
the
thing to
super
do.
chat.
Yeah,
So Bumrah
exactly.
for Prasidh, Krishna for Lords, and no other changes. India should thrash England on current form then. I don't really know. Again, that's the thing.
Again, I would say just play Kuldeep instead of Washington, dude. Like, honestly, I was not impressed with the bowling
Yeah.
of the two spinners today. I know like there is an element of England batting fast and everything, but still, like, your holding spinners should be able to, or they should be able to, like, create more wicket taking chances, which also I did not feel. Like, I know they tried a lot of different stuff, especially Washington when he tried to come around the wicket, but then Brook had a plan for that as well. So, yeah, whatever. I guess
Why do we always get out 20 minutes before every session's in? I honestly don't know. Loss of
this has been
concentration,
happening a lot,
think.
I think.
Yeah. No one's trashing anyone. This is a 25-day ODI game. I could not agree more, man. It really is just feeling like I've been watching an ODI game.
Yeah.
And we talked about this yesterday, right? Like, it's like, this is a very simulated day 5 test match. I need to know what happens. Right? Like, I can't be also suffer through this again, Shahan. Like, it's like, I don't know if I have it in me to watch another day of ODI cricket tomorrow.
I think tomorrow you will have to, because India will, I think, really be looking to score at 4.5, 5, maybe even more than that runs per over. And
Yeah.
like if they bat the whole day tomorrow, or at least for the first two
think-
sessions.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And Prasad has only played 24 test matches, right? I think, unfortunately for him, I think he's not played a lot.
Yeah, I think injuries have really like disrupted his career a lot, because I remember as early as 2020, Virat Kohli was saying that he could be an option for India in the T20 World Cup when it was supposed to happen in Australia, and there was no COVID, nothing back then. So, and why does someone with a
Weird times,
talent like KL still average 34?
No, let's
I
not
think
get
this
into
is
that
the
now. It's
everlasting
too-
question, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's the Aiden Markram
So
thing.
insane.
Once again.
Yeah, it's
No, I
quite
actually
insane.
have a good answer for that, you know. I think like before he came
Go
back
ahead.
in the England tour in 2021, he was making a lot of runs in Asia, but he was not making runs outside Asia, apart from like the few glimpses of talent that he showed on his debut and then that 149 in England. He was just not scoring runs, and like he was averaging in the 20s even after that 149 that he played. Like he really struggled in that 2018 leg, 2018, 2019 Sena leg. And then after that, when he comes back, he actually does really well outside Asia, but then in India and in Bangladesh, he can't really make runs. I think it's a weird situation for him where he is not able to crack scoring runs in both away from home and at home at the same time. The talent is unquestionable, and I think at this point, India would just be hoping maybe there is a Graham Gooch-like redemption for him. Maybe for the next 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, he can just, score lots of runs, and be beneficial for India's cause. Because he has the talent,
when-
bro. Like, he does.
And when Eek is writing the art of batting, all the Indian fans will be complaining that KL Rahul should be in there. Like England fans complain about Graham Gooch, right?
Yeah. I know.
If KL isn't because of South Indian, I don't think he's in because of South Indian quota, is he? Surely not.
Yeah, he is a talented player, dude. Like, you guys
I
have
will
to realize
acknowledge
that.
I do think there is an element of pretty privilege with the batting. I do think that applies a bit. I don't think it
But
is.
that applies to
it
Gill
varies
as well,
from-
no? Because
That
we were
does
talking
apply to
about
Gill
this
as well.
yesterday.
Yes, it does.
If
apply
Gill
to Gill,
averages
right?
what in the mid-30s and doesn't have this attractive style of batting, flashy stroke play and everything, how many people would be backing him? Like, at least, like, even I think I wouldn't be backing him that much. Like, because that sort of bias does creep in at times when you're talking about
That's
batters
very
and
true,
how
that's
they
very
look,
true.
how you perceive a batter versus how they actually end up performing. So, yeah.
Again, it's very interesting. So that's, I think, enough for today, I would say. All right, so thank you so much for listening up to this point, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully, India's in a better situation as an England fan, but I just want a good day of cricket tomorrow. I can't be asked to watch this nonsense again for another day, right? So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to bookmark goodareas.co. It's the one-stop shop for all things Good Areas. Thank you so much for watching up to this point. Bye.
Brian Lara used pot plants to work on his placement. John Wright glued his glove to his bat. Sachin Tendulkar dug up practice pitches. Tatenda Taibu cut the top off his bat. Claire Taylor used a hockey grip. Steve Smith was from tennis. Dean Jones would call phantom runs. And Victor Trumper turned the nets into a war zone to survive. The best batters in the world do whatever they have to make runs. We have told their stories in our new book, The Art of Batting.